I still got an idea.
Love you. We're on live now. Say hi, Mel.
Hi, everybody.
Mel saying hi. All right. So, guys, welcome to this live. How you going, Mel? Really? Do it for me.
That's what I'm doing.
That's too low, babe. I'm already higher over here. My little sister Mel's in town. Mel, do it one thing at a time. Okay. You know what? Is it stable?
Yes.
Okay. I have a production assistant today. Okay. Oh, hey, Los. Carlos is on. All right. Hey, guys. Today we are on here to talk about, what's it called? Lionsgate, because it is 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. If one more person hits me up to be like, so Lionsgate, what's that about? I'm not going to be giving individual... Thank you, guys. I'm not going to be giving individual tutorials on Lionsgate. Don't have that kind of time on my hands. So I wanted to come on here to not only give you guys a little bit of a nod about what Lionsgate is, I also wanted to talk to those of you who are non-believers, right? Because the thing that I always joke about is, even though I am someone who by lineage, not by choice, guys, lineage means it was in my blood. My dad's Cuban, my mother's Haitian. I have a very magical bloodline. Not my choice. I was raised Christian. My current religion is Buddhist. A lot of y'all don't realize I'm Buddhist. Why do you think I'm so zen all the freaking time, even when I'm cussing people out? So I'm Buddhist by choice, and I was raised deeply Christian, right? I am a witch by lineage, though, which means that the reason why I have claircognizant, clairsentience, the reason why I have clients who come to me not only to have me be their coach, but sometimes to speak to the spirit world, is because I inherited magic. So when people talk about, oh my God, you're a nice girl, stop saying you're a witch. It's not something I chose, babe. It's in my bloodline. I was born like this. So it's not something I can like denounce. It'd be like denouncing my daddy and the half of him that made me. So I just want to give that preface that because I am someone who was raised super Christian, became Buddhist by choice, but could not deny at a certain point that I did have a long line of witches in my bloodline. It was hard for me at first, being so Christian and then Buddhist, to make peace with the fact that I was so witchy. Me being witchy is the reason why I'm not a therapist. If one more person asks me why I'm not a therapist, now you have the answer. It is illegal for a therapist to tell you, hey, why are you lying in our sessions? My spirit guides told me that your aunt didn't like your mama and X, Y, and Z. That's not something that I could legally do. So I thought about going to therapy when I was younger. However, my gift made it inappropriate. And so coaching became the only appropriate way for me to help people while still legally being able to tell folks if I get a message from the other side. Half of y'all in here, I recognize a lot of names. Shout out to Nina, shout out to Carlos. I love the people who are in here. A lot of y'all have seen me at parties. I'll be at a party, and if I have more than one drink, I will randomly start channeling messages. You've all seen it. It's become a party trick at this point. I'm known throughout Hollywood and certain circles for this at this point. And so because I am witchy begrudgingly, I wanted to talk about Lionsgate from a different perspective. I wanted to talk about it from the magical side for those of you who believe. But I also want to talk to you about Lionsgate for the non-believers, or those who are agnostic and not sure if you believe. Because honestly, if I wasn't born witchy, I don't think I'd believe any of this shit. That's the part that y'all don't understand, right? I am someone who believes strongly in journalistic integrity. I am someone who believes strongly in science. I'm someone who believes strongly in data and research, right? And being so cerebral, right? Being someone who's always up here in my mind and having a Virgo moon and a lot of Virgo on my chart. When I realized there was magic in me, I was like, damn, if I wasn't magic, I don't think I would believe in magic. Which is why those of you who are not witchy, who believe in this stuff, your faith always is so awe-inspiring to me. I also want to give a quick shout out to those of you who've been watching my pick a card readings. Again, if I did not do pick a cards, I'm not sure I would believe in pick a cards. But every time I post one, I get tons of DMs and texts from friends and family and people who don't even know me saying, how did you do a reading about me without me in the room? That's magic, right? So magic is something that I have to believe in. This is not something where I want y'all to watch this video and be like, oh, Blue, you so smart. You be talking about politics and psychology. Why do you believe in Lionsgate and all this witchy shit? I had no choice, babe. I had no fucking choice. I wanted to give that disclaimer for all the new folks who have recently started following me, so you have context about why someone who seems so logical would be into magic. Now, for those of you who believe in the razzle dazzle, let's get into it. Lionsgate, the way that I explain Lionsgate is, it is a date 8/8. that happens every year, because August 8th happens every year, where it is believed that the portal between the spiritual realm of what is possible and infinite and the tangible world that we currently live in this reality, the line is thin. It's almost like there's only a thin membrane between what is real and what can be conceived. It is basically a 24-hour version of 11/11. Right? For those of you who don't know what 11/11 is, the reason why we make wishes on 11/11 is because that angel number is supposed to be the angel number of possibility and manifestation. So at 11/11, when that veil, wherever you are locally, between the real and the imagined is thin, you make a wish, because whatever's stopping your wish from coming true is as thin as possible. The obstacles are as thin as possible. 8/8 is a time during Leo season where that energy is prominent for the entire day. Okay, so for those who are like, what's the Lionsgate portal? The Lionsgate portal is 24 hours of 11/11. That's the way that I talk about it to those who are not more informed. Of course, there's a technical way to explain it, but I always want to speak to people in a way that without you being tapped in, you can still understand, right? Language is meant to communicate, not to impress. Now, here's the thing about Lionsgate. The Lionsgate, like the name says, is in Leo season, right? And so 8 and 8, for those who believe in the infinity symbol, the infinite transformation, manifestation, 8/8 is supposed to be a powerful time for that. But here's what's interesting. Last year I came on here, and many of you have told me I was right after the fact, after y'all called me crazy. Last year I came on here and during one of my lives, I wish I had saved it, where I talked about, hey guys, my spirit guides keep telling me that 2024 is going to be a year of transformation and a year of reckoning. Bridget will tell you, I've been calling 2024 a year of reckoning for a year now. I started doing it last summer around this time. When Cat Williams said it in January, suddenly y'all listened, right? But I was saying it well before the Shannon Sharp interview. And the reason why I said that 2024 was going to be a year of transformation is because every single numerical year, for those who believe, if you don't believe, just watch, like I'm telling you a fairy tale. But for those who believe in magic, those of us who are into the spiritual realm or who are tapped into spirituality understand the power of numbers. Numbers hold frequencies. Everything holds a frequency, guys. Everything holds a frequency. And when I was getting these feelings about 2024, like, why do I feel like we're all turning a corner in 2023 and that in Q4, shit's gonna, like, there's gonna be smoke, and in Q1 of 2024, shit's gonna be on fire. I literally told my friends that, and it happened. You know how I confirmed I wasn't crazy? Because the journalist in me, right? The writer in me, the person in me who has journalistic integrity, even when I get a guide message, I always want to check to make sure I'm not making shit up, right? And so I started looking at the numerology. 2024 is the year of 8. 2 plus 2 plus 4. 2024 is the year of 8. 8 equals karma. So today isn't 8/8. Today is actually 8/8/8. We have a Lionsgate portal every year, but this year there's 3 8s, not just 2. For those of you who want to take notes, you know, I always welcome people taking notes so they can further research whatever I tell them. So this year isn't just 8/8. Today is 8/8/8. We're in the year of 8, in the 8th month, on the 8th day. If you believe in infinity, manifestation, transformation, please recognize that you need to be very mindful about who you're around today, what you say today. Don't tell no self-deprecating jokes. If you are somebody who thinks self-deprecating jokes are fun, shut up today. Okay? Don't say any shit that you don't want to happen. Not to mention, not only, this is how powerful this is. I just got to chill down my spine. Not only is today 8/8/8, we're also in Mercury retrograde, a time where the universe wants to call your bluff. Do you really mean that shit? You broke up with somebody who was an asshole and you said you don't care about them anymore. Well, bet. We're going to make them miss you and hit you up and see if you meant that. You said that you would never work at that job anymore because they don't respect you. Bet we're going to have your old boss hit you up and see if you still want to work with them. Whatever you said you didn't want or do want, Mercury retrograde is a time of calling your bluff. So in a season of calling your bluff, in a year of karma, we are now in a month and a day of manifestation. Are y'all picking this up? It is the year of manifestation, the month of calling your bluff, and the exact day of transformation. Today is powerful. Be careful who you are around. A friend, I won't say their name because many of you called me today. Many of you, like Blue, I keep getting signs. What the hell does this mean? Which is why I'm doing this live, because I was thinking about doing the live anyways. But when I couldn't get no peace on my way to Costco with my little sister, I was like, let me do a live so y'all can leave me alone. So I love y'all, but I'm trying to enjoy my 8/8, right? So my friend called and said, yo, somebody who I'm not even into, but who's a fun distraction, wants to hang out with me today. Should I hang out with them? I said, fuck no. No. Don't do shit you don't mean today. Don't say anything you don't mean today. Okay? Because everybody's listening. You know how the kids say the ops? Today, the universe is the ops. Okay? I've been really mindful all day because I had an emergency at my house. My close friends know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Estelle because she came and picked me up in a moment where I was about to lose my shit over the weekend. And also shout out to Jean and Mike. They had a birthday party this weekend, which was like a highlight of a wild first week of retrograde for me. And the video of that party, the recap video, you guys know I always love to do recap videos when I'm hanging out with my friends. It will come out probably this weekend, but I was fighting for my life the top half of this week, okay? So this week has already been madness for a lot of us because retrograde is doing its thing. And for those who are like, well, retrograde's over in a couple of weeks, y'all need to understand how retrograde works. If you believe, if you don't, just remember me. Retrograde fades in and it fades out, which means there's something called a shadow period. Whenever you see something that says Mercury retrograde starting August 4th and it's ending August 27th, the week before it's fading in and the week after it's fading out. So just add 2 weeks to the clock whenever there's a retrograde. So we're not going to be out of this retrograde energy until the top of September. We have a full month of the universe calling our bluff. Now, many of you are watching this not sure if you believe. There is a scientific reason to play along. For those of you who do not believe in magic, which if you're my friend, it's really hard not to believe in magic because all it takes is me mentioning a message from your grandma that's eerily accurate for you to be like, maybe this bitch is not lying. Okay, so anybody who's my friend, I have a lot of friends who are atheists who still believe in my gift because it's not something I can turn on and off, right? So for those of you who are my friends, I already know that you believe in magic to some degree, or at very least you believe in me. But for those of you who don't know me or who still don't believe because you're stubborn or just have different belief system, I respect that. Let me explain why science tells you that it actually might be a good idea to believe in 8/8 and Mercury retrograde and all the things that happen during a time of manifestation. I have a list, so I'm going to look over here to my research because y'all know a bitch loves research. All right. Oh, God. You know, my laptop is heavy, so it's always hard for me to carry it. All right. First of all, let's talk about the season, right? Leo. Leo represents the heart. Y'all might not realize this, and I am going to do a video all about the interconnectedness of the zodiac. Because y'all know I've been into this shit since 1996. I'm not joking. Literally since 1996. So every part of the body is represented by a part of the zodiac, guys. So perfect example. Aries is represented by the head. Whenever you are around an Aries, particularly an Aries man, because I've dated several of you or been friends with several of you. Whenever you're around an Aries and they're having a rough day, tell them to put their head on your lap and rub their head. Aries are like drunk babies. They need their heads rubbed like babies. They rule the head. Taurus, my sun sign, rules the throat. Whenever you meet, pause, I know. Whenever you meet a Taurus, their voice is probably going to be something that you think of. People constantly tell me, Blue, I can hear your voice in my head. Tauruses are known for the throat, which means we are known for the way that we speak. A lot of singers have my birthday. Kelly Clarkson, Kehlani. There are so many singers who have my birthday because Taurus is literally the throat goat of the zodiac. I'm going to let that work through you. Heather, my trainer Heather just said throat. Yes, Taurus is literally considered the throat goat of the zodiac, which means a lot of Taurus women are known for fellatio and bisexuality. Shout out to me and Kehlani. We fit the bill, right? So once you understand, somebody says, yes, that's so true as a Taurus sun. Yes. Once you understand that every part of the body is ruled by part of the zodiac. And again, guys, I'm going to do a video where I break this down. You get to Leo. You're like, what does Leo rule? The ego? Leo rules the heart, guys. I often say in these shows, Cancer is the titties for those who are asking. Stop asking, guys. I'm trying to stay on track because I have to go to a function. For those of you who are like, Leo rules the heart? Yes. Whenever I teach an emotional intelligence class, oh, I forgot to put the link. I'll put it at the end. Whenever I teach an emotional intelligence class, the first thing I do is talk about how people often conflate the ego with the heart because they seem so similar from a distance. So we all think of the ego when we think of Leo, right? Big personality. I need you to see me. Big vibes, big energy. Leo formulates relationships through ego. Leo sees itself through ego. Leo has come to represent the ego, but at its core, Leo is actually ruled by the heart. A Leo is just a heart that wants to be seen. That's why they take everything so fucking personal. Because everything's a reflection of them in their own minds. So if Leo rules the heart and we are in Leo season during a lion's gate, during the year of karma and transformation, right? What that tells you is whatever you're manifesting cannot come from your head or your ego. It has to come from your heart. What do you really want? Not what you think you should want, not what you were told you need to want. What do you really want when no one else is in the room? That's what you need to be manifesting today. I'm always telling my students, remove the word should from your vocabulary. It is a trash junk food word. Very rarely does the word should do anything of service. All it does is judge. Judge and watch. It doesn't really do anything. Fuck what you should do. Think about what you could do, right? And so, what do you really want if you weren't being haunted by the should? That's what today is about in the Lion's Gate. And for those of you, somebody said, ooh, thank you so much for this, going to journal after this. Good segue. For those of you, Capricorn, stop bringing some. If I say one more Capricorn, try to take over this live about Leo energy. As an earth sign, I understand the urge. But been about 7 Capricorns. All right, let's get into it. All right, so why do people who don't believe in all this stuff, all this woo shit, why maybe could you consider taking part? There's science. Let's get into it. Number 1, there have been studies, because you know a bitch loves data and studies. Number 1 reason why you could consider doing this, whether you believe it or not, the placebo effect. When you believe in something, you tend to create circumstances subconsciously that make it happen, even if it's a placebo. This is science, guys. I'm not making this up. In fact, research published by Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society suggests that belief systems, including spiritual practices, can impact physical health and well-being. They have done studies that have shown those of us who believe in this stuff and act on it become healthier mentally and physically, because it's all connected. Spiritual health, mental health, and physical health are all connected. That's why when people say, Blue, you're a coach. How are you also a tarot reader and a little bit psychic? And how are you also a journalist? One is the mind and one is the woo-woo. They're actually connected. Whenever I'm speaking to you from someone who's speaking from journalistic integrity, I'm using my mind to find very logical ways to describe things that I could also describe spiritually. I'm talking about the same shit at all times. People who are deeply Christian call it God. People who are spiritual call it, the universe. People who are into science, maybe agnostic, call it the placebo effect. Whatever the fuck you call it, if it's working, what's the harm? I have been called delusional my entire life, and everybody who calls me delusional at some point is congratulating me because one of my delusions came true. So what is the issue with me believing if the shit I believe in keeps happening? Right? What's the harm in being delusional and still mentally healthy if my delusions keep happening? What do you call something that you think of and that happens? Is that really a delusion or am I manifesting? I'm a master manifester, right? I had a friend once early this year who got into the habit. His nickname for me was the genie. He's like, Blue, you're a fucking genie. When anybody around you wants something and you show up to help them, it happens. I'm not a genie. I'm a manifester. Right? You guys, stop asking me about body parts. Stay focused. We're going to do a whole video on that. I'm asking you to respect my time and the fact that I'm trying to stay focused. Because if one more of you ask me for something that's off topic, I have too much ADHD for you. Y'all would be doing this to me. All right. Somebody said Delulu until it's true Lulu. Yes, right? I am someone who manifests. And to someone who doesn't believe, my manifestations always look like delusion until they happen. And now I'm getting a bunch of likes on a post announcing something. People saying congratulations after they were talking shit about me. So the placebo effect is a great reason to do this, because the placebo effect puts you in a mindset where you believe something so much your body relaxes into it. I'm constantly on here talking about the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol comes from worrying. That's a mental thing that makes you physically ill based on your belief systems. Belief systems turn into your thoughts. Your thoughts turn to your health. I've thought myself sick before, and so have you, whether you realize it or not. My aunt died from thinking herself sick and putting herself last until it manifested as physical illness. My mother's in the hospital right now getting care from 24-hour medical care because she thought herself anxious. So as someone who comes from a long line of anxious people, because we all have anxiety disorders in my family, and I've watched anxious people who are non-believers, right, who are constantly worried, constantly making themselves sick, I don't think it's any coincidence that I'm the one who's delusional. I'm the one who's always manifesting. I'm the one who has the tarot cards and who's always talking about Lionsgate and the portals and X, Y, and Z. I'm also the happiest and the youngest looking in my family. Right? I look younger than some people in my family who are much younger than me. That's not a coincidence, guys. Joy is a salve. S-A-L-V-E. It's an ointment on the soul and the body and the mind. So, if for no other reason than placebo effect, play along. There's research that backs it up. And like I always say, the reason why I'm always so meticulous with my language with you guys is I want you to Google me so you can realize that I'm really not making shit up. This is not TikTok where you can make a video and have bass in your voice and say a bunch of things that are untrue and be an expert. I'm actually talking about things that can be quantified through decades and centuries of research. Number 2 reason to consider the Lionsgate, even if you're not a believer. Number 2 is the powerful role of self-efficacy. I'm looking at my notes over here. Self-efficacy. That means to be self-sufficient. Manifestation. Similar, but not completely like prayer. Prayer and manifestation are close, but not the same. Prayer means I'm trusting in God, i.e. the universe. Manifestation means I'm trusting in God or the universe, and I'm visualizing exactly what I want and how I want to get there. Those of you who think manifestation just means if I just think about a bag of money, it'll appear. That is not manifestation. That's daydreaming. Thinking about what you want is just daydreaming. Manifestation means visualize. Oh, these words have me in a chokehold because me and my friend were drinking. Visualizing what you want and then visualizing how to get there. And how to get there doesn't have to be too granular. You can just visualize milestones, right? And so because today is about speaking from the heart, what does your heart seriously desire? And what are certain broad stroke milestones that you want? Now, why am I saying broad strokes? People have bad reactions when I say manifesting means thinking about what you want in broad strokes. And for those of you who are coming in here, please watch the top of this video where I gave context about how I'm talking about the Lionsgate portal, which is 888. Today's the 8th day of the 8th month. And 2024 is the year of 8. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. So because today is a super magical year, super magical. This will happen for several years, guys. There will not be another 888 for a very long time. We will all be old and gray when it happens again. So because today is super powerful, I want to not just talk about magic and manifestation and belief and all that stuff. I also want to talk about science, right? So number 1, placebo effect means if you believe it, your body relaxes enough for you to actually create it. Subconsciously, on a psychological level, when you believe something is something that you are manifesting, subconsciously you're creating opportunities for it to come true. It's called confirmation bias. It happens all the fucking time. Confirmation bias also happens with people who are negative. The joke about manifestation is whether you believe you're good enough or not good enough, you're right. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, placebo, the subconscious, whatever you believe in is always going to conspire to prove you right. How many times have you said, damn, I thought he was a piece of shit. I hate that I was right. You're going to always be right, babe. You're going to always create an environment where you make yourself right, be it consciously or subconsciously. Second thing is manifestation requires you to be self-efficient. It requires you to actually take ownership of what you want your life to look like. And science has shown people who have self-efficacy, it also helps with their mental health, which keeps their cortisol levels down, the stress hormone that creates sickness. Do you guys see how redundant I'm being intentionally? How mind, body, and spirit are always connected? How the logical, the spiritual, and the physical are always fucking connected? I was teaching a class yesterday. Shout out to the all-night shift girlies, boys and girls, because it's unisex. I was teaching a class yesterday where I was talking about dating someone who's a hot mess when you know for a fact this is not your person. And I said to somebody, how would you feel? And for those of you who have a history of drug addiction, I'm going to give a trigger warning. But OTS, shout out Heather and everybody in here from OTS. How would you feel if you were about to be set up on a blind date? And I said, yo, I'm going to use Heather as an example. Or actually, I've used Heather as an example enough after the Spirit of Wetness video. I'm going to leave you alone, Heather. I'm going to use Tony. Tony just walked in. I'm going to use Tony as an example. Tony, how would you feel if I told you I met the perfect human for you? I'm saying human to be gender neutral. This human being was sexy, funny, rich, exceptionally kind, just a good person, okay? The kind of person you'd be proud to bring home to your family. Just one small caveat. They smoke a little bit of crack every Thursday. Just a little bit of crack. What would you say? I'm going to let you guys write some answers in the chat. If I told you I met someone who was an exceptional human being and I wanted to hook you up with them as a life partner, and the only downside is they smoked a little bit of crack, Tony just responded, nah, they won't work for me. Tony, but if they're perfect in every other respect, why wouldn't they work for you, Tony? I'm going to wait for you to answer, beloved. And anybody else who wants to answer, whose answer is no. If I told you, somebody said, I'm a no. Tony's like, I don't even want to unpack it. It's a no. You see how clear Tony, so look, you're all saying nope in the chat. You're all so clear that if I offered you a perfect person who smoked a little bit of crack, you'd be like, no. Somebody said, oh my God, that is a tough one. Okay, if you're saying that's a tough one, you might need to take the class. This is why I'm going to use the word should on purpose. It should not be tough. Somebody said hard no. I'm going to put the class link, register. I always say whenever somebody says, well, how much crack are they smoking? I'm like, you need to take the class. Register with Blue. And I'm going to explain to you guys why I'm using the crack addiction analogy, because somebody in class yesterday said, Blue, what are you talking about? I said, well, think about it. When you're talking about dating somebody and you're saying this person is perfect for me and I think they're my perfect person, but they're emotionally available. They don't text me. They don't call me. They're inconsistent. When we're in front of each other, we have a great time. But when we're not in front of each other, it's out of sight, out of mind. In my mind, as someone who understands that you cannot compartmentalize the human experience. And why? Because mind, body, spirit, all connected. Someone who understands that you cannot compartmentalize the human experience understands that if someone has decided that they're not showing up for you in one way, they're not really showing up for you at all. It doesn't, and I'm talking about romantic entanglements, guys, very specifically, because that's where it requires that. A friend can have a bad season and not be thinking about you because they don't owe you that. When you're dating someone who doesn't find time to text you ever, who is lackadaisical, who treats you like a convenience, that's how they see you. Their actions are telling you that they are not investing in you. And somebody said, Blue, why are you comparing crack addiction to not investing in me? That seems extreme. Shout out to the sis who said that in class. Guess what, guys? The reason why you wouldn't date somebody who smokes a little bit of crack on Thursdays, because, you know, there's no such thing. You recognize someone who's addicted to crack, that is going to trickle out to all their other behaviors. You recognize somebody who's crack addicted, the crack addiction is going to affect the way they think about themselves, the way they have discernment, their judgment, their investment, their reliability. You recognize that because crack cannot be compartmentalized, that a little bit of crack on Thursday is a symptom of a larger issue. Guess what? The spirit is the same way. The mind is the same way. Someone who is not emotionally invested in you in a basic way, i.e. not taking crack, is not invested in you, babe. Saying, oh, he's perfect except for insert essential regular thing that anybody who likes you would naturally do without being asked. And they're like, by the way, guys, science, because again, I'm doing this so the agnostics don't get lost in the sauce. Science has shown that people who are addicted to love show the same signs of people who are addicted to drugs. In fact, when you are infatuated, it neurologically mimics a crack addiction. So I'm not being fucking extreme, guys. When you are infatuated with someone who has shown you that they are not ready for you, whether it's a friendship, because friendship breakups can hurt even more than romantic breakups. Tell it somebody. Whether it's a friendship, a career opportunity, a lover, a family member, your infatuation with who they could be versus who they've consistently showed you they are when it comes to you. Because who they are to everybody else is irrelevant, right? Who they are to you is what they're showing you. But because you're addicted to a little bit of crack on Thursdays, right? You're thinking, no, if I just do this, no. And by the way, why is infatuation something that is not reciprocal and therefore doesn't have integrity? Why is it creating the same neurological functioning as an addiction? Because love is the greatest high, including the perception of love. Anytime that you get the high, the cortisol and dopamine and serotonin levels that are heightened by thinking that you are connecting to someone who sees you and appreciates you, you see yourself through their eyes, at least the way you perceive you're seeing themselves through their eyes. And it immediately feels like a hit of crack. Falling in deep like or attachment, often called love. I don't always agree it's love. But the perception of love literally hits your body like the first hit of heroin or crack or any addictive drug. That is science. Again, Google it. I'm more impressive when you realize I'm not making this shit up. Right? So because that first high, do you know why crack addicts become crack addicts? Let's talk about it. By the way, this is always the time where I say, fuck you, Nancy Reagan, because If you know anything about the 80s and how the crack epidemic really started, I hope Nancy Reagan is rotting in hell. I'm going to always say that as a political statement. So if that turns you off, I'm probably not for you because I've done research. But the crack epidemic was very big in the 80s and early 90s when I was a little kid. And so I saw the effects of the crack epidemic, which is why when I had a job in journalism and was doing digital media, I did research on the crack epidemic. And that's why I am so angry at the Reagans, right? They're probably lovely people, but they completely destroyed my community. So because of crack addiction, I was asking myself, why is crack so addictive? Apparently, the first time you take crack, the first time that hits you, you will never that high again. An addict spends the entirety of their addiction chasing the first high. They're chasing the ghost of what was once, that they've now convinced themselves can happen forever. When you are with somebody who was nice to you, made you feel like they could be your husband or your wife, or could be your best friend or your dream job. Whenever you meet somebody who gets your dopamine and serotonin levels that fucking high, because you're excited as somebody taking a drug, right? Because drugs just make you feel those feelings in an artificial way that you feel naturally. So whenever you get that hit that comes from connecting to someone or something that you perceive will make your life better, that initial high, unless they feed the relationship, you will never get that high again. And you spend the rest of your life like a crack addict chasing that first initial high. I can't tell you how many times I've been love bombed, because, you know, bitch loves compliments. I'm not even going to hold you. I can't tell you how many times I've been love bombed by someone, and they got me high as a kite on attention and affirmation, right? High as a motherfucking kite. I remember one time I met somebody who was so sexy and charming. I went to my friend and said, why do I feel like I just ate an edible? I literally felt, looking into this man's eyes, that I had just eaten an edible. That's how strong the energy was. And because y'all know I'm mostly attracted to Leos and Libras, you know, I was one of them, right? So this charming person got me so high, it literally felt like I was taking a 10 milligram edible. That happens to all of us. We're just not cognizant of it, right? So for those of you who are coming in the room, we're talking about the Lionsgate portal and the scientific reasons why you should think about manifesting today, even if you don't believe in the woo and the metaphysical. So because we know how addictive it is to feel good, we also know how addictive and damaging it is to chase that high. We judge addicts all the time when it's a tangible thing, like a drug. And yet we are sitting here addicted to things that don't serve us all the time in intangible ways. That's why I did the trigger warning at the beginning and said, if you have anything around drug addiction, please tap out if this is triggering for you. But again, the science says it's the same thing. So in the same way, if I said, hey, I met the perfect person for you, but they take a little bit of crack on Thursdays, and you'd be like, I don't even need to unpack this. The answer is no. I need you to have the same fucking energy when someone says, yo, this man is sexy and fine and fun and all these amazing things, but he's emotionally unavailable. I've just spent the last 20 minutes explaining to you why chasing someone who's emotionally unavailable is as nonsensical as saying that you would date somebody who smokes a little bit of crack because they're perfect otherwise. He's perfect otherwise, he's just emotionally unavailable. Crack. No. And to somebody like me who's securely attached, it does look equally crazy. They don't actually look different to me at all. It's not an extreme correlation to me at all. As someone who understands the science of psychology and how the body works, right? So guys, I want you guys to know the beauty about today, and I'm going to do it one more time because a lot of people just came in. The beauty about 888, right? This is the 8th day of the 8th month in a year, again, 2024, 0 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. This is the day of manifestation. Please only talk about what you want. Don't say shit about what you don't want. Please don't say, Blue, I'm going to manifest not being broke. The universe does not believe in negative or positive, right? Let's get into a little bit of science because energy and the universe are very close. This is the one thing that me and Neil deGrasse Tyson don't agree on, because Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks that anything metaphysical is fake. As somebody who's Haitian and Cuban and who hears spirits and pays the entirety of their rent during readings, I don't have the luxury of not believing in magic, because magic has completely saved my life on more than one occasion and the lives of all my friends and family. So I don't have the luxury of not believing in magic. So it's the one place where me and Neil deGrasse Tyson, we diverge. But what we do agree about is how energy works, right? Negative and positive energy. When you look at a battery, there's a negative sign and a positive sign, right? And because energy is something that we quantify in the physical realm, it is hard for us to understand the spiritual realm is neutral. The spiritual realm doesn't believe in negative and positive in the same way that we do. When you say, I don't want to be broke, all the spirit world hears is broke. It doesn't hear if you want it or don't want it. It just hears that you're channeling your energy towards brokenness. Even if you're channeling your energy towards not being broke, you're still hyper-focusing on brokenness. So rather than saying, I do not want to be broke today, say, I want to be rich. I want to be abundant, right? And then think about major milestones about abundance. Why do I keep saying major milestones? I think I hinted on this earlier. Do not get too granular when you are making wishes. Whenever I make a wish or a manifestation, I focus on, you guys, for those who are taking notes, please write this down. The key to manifesting is focus on the feeling that the manifestation represents. Why do I say focus on the feeling? Perfect example. When someone says, I want to meet my husband or wife and fall in love and have babies, the feeling is security. The feeling is family. The feeling is connection, right? The feeling is legacy for those of you who are forward thinking. Don't just focus on the dream. You can focus on the dream in broad strokes, but if you're being granular, be granular about the feeling. You know why? When you tell the universe, I want a husband and kids and a dog and a white picket fence because I want to feel secure and safe and like I have family, like I'm connected and like I'm feeding my legacy. When you focus on the feeling, the universe can get clever about finding other ways to get you to that feeling that you yourself could not have conceived. That's why you need to stay in your fucking lane. The details belong to God. The details belong to the universe. I can't tell you how many times I've told the universe I wanted something and everybody called me fucking delusional, was talking shit behind my back. I've seen the screenshots. And I focus on the feeling. And a year later, I look around like, oh shit, I didn't get it exactly how I envisioned, but I got it. I didn't get it exactly how I thought I would get it, but I got it. Perfect example, right? I had a financial emergency earlier this week that was very expensive. And I had originally planned to take my little sister who's in town today to see Emily King at the Hollywood Bowl. I love the Hollywood Bowl. If you want to make me happy, give me good seats to see something fun and sexy at the Hollywood Bowl. So I was going to treat my little sister to see Seal and Emily King at the Hollywood Bowl because I love Emily King. When I was traveling through Europe and Asia and Cuba, I went back to Cuba for a couple of months. When I was traveling and ran off to find myself, Emily King was the soundtrack of me traveling and finding myself. So her voice is very soothing for me on so many levels. Today, me and my sister are running errands, doing this and that. And I'm like, yo, I spent so much money this week. Unfortunately, I can't get us the tickets, but I feel so good with you today. I'm so happy you're here. And guess what happened? I looked up and saw that we were driving past the Hollywood Bowl. And as we were driving past the Hollywood Bowl, Emily King started playing on my shuffle. I was focused on how I wanted me and my sister to feel during the thing that I could no longer do for us. And because I was so focused on the feeling, I looked at her and said, oh shit, I said I wanted to listen to Emily King at the Hollywood Bowl. We are literally listening to Emily King as we're driving past the Hollywood Bowl. The universe has a fucking sense of humor. And guess what? The feeling that I was hoping to have at that experience, I still had it. I still had it. When you focus on the feeling, you open up the field for the how. When you're hyper-focused on the how, you are not minding your business, you're minding God's business. So today, I need you to focus on the feeling. What do you want? And how do you want to feel when you get it? Because even if you don't get what you want, you might still get that feeling in another way. Does that make sense, guys? Now, before I wrap up, because then my sister just came out her room because we have to leave to go to our next function. It's time, huh? Oh, you look cute. You look real DC. I'll return the camera, but I don't want y'all to see my house. That's too much information. So yeah, focus on the feeling, guys. And the last reason why non-believers should actually think about manifesting, if I haven't convinced you by now, you might not be convincible, and that's fine, is the principles of cognitive behavioral therapy. Let's talk about it. CBT. Those of you who've been to therapy, y'all know that I can't be a therapist because a psychotherapist is inappropriate. But cognitive behavioral therapy is another reason why you should consider manifesting today on 888, whether you believe or not. CBT, a well-established psychological treatment modality, emphasizes the importance of changing negative thought patterns to improve mental health. Manifestation could arguably be considered a form of CBT. You up here paying $250 an hour for a licensed therapist to do CBT with you, but you're not going to manifest for free? Logically speaking, does that make sense? Does it logically make sense to spend hundreds of dollars, tons of phone calls to your insurance provider, looking for a therapist to do CBT, which is valid, please do that, but think it's stupid and scoff at those of us who are doing our own version of that, the broke man's version of that, through manifestation for free? Manifestation is the spiritual, watered down iteration of CBT, guys. So when I say that there is science to back up the magic. Someone said, I'm manifesting. I want to be rich and in abundance, literally, and with love. When you're focusing on love in particular, guys, a little pro tip about love, focus on how you want love to act, because love is a verb. We've heard that since fucking 1990 something. Love is a verb. So when it comes to love in particular, the feeling of love should be tethered, I'm using should intentionally, should be tethered to the action of love. I want to feel pretty. Okay, that means I want a partner who's affirming. I want to feel safe. That means I want a partner who's a good communicator and who's forthcoming. One of the things, for those of you who haven't taken the class, I've given y'all so much free game. I've been told by some financial advisors that I'm giving away too much for free. As much as I give away for free, guys, the class is way more. We end every class with people in class saying, that's the end. Can we go another half an hour? Because there's so much to unpack. Mel took the class. My sister took the class. She'll tell you. Right? So repeatedly, people have taken the class 2 or 3 times. As much free game as I give on this live and all my lives, there's an abundance of information when it comes to EQ and self-mastery, right? Somebody said, so good, I appreciate this. I'm doing this because I've never in my life wanted money to stop people from getting the help they need. And I'm still a practitioner who needs to get paid. So I'm going to say this. If you've ever considered taking the class, the last class of the year happens next month. After next month, I'm not doing this shit again until 2025. Why? I can't pour from an empty cup. And pro tip, as someone who's been doing this for a long time, I don't pour from a cup at all. I do not pour from my cup. People always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. My cup is none of your business. I pour from the overflow in the saucer. I only pour from a surplus. The reason why I come to class and watch people have ego deaths and see my students get mad and angry and fight me and say, Blue, no, that's bullshit. Mind you, you're paying me all this money, but you're yelling at me, right? People have strong, ugly reactions during class sometimes when I say a truth that hits them between the eyes. Which according to Kendall, shout out to Kendall, he's always shouting at the class. Kendall says he feels like he's been hit upside the head at least once a class, right? So you're coming for an ego death, you're coming to evolve. That's going to cause anger. The reason why I can sit there and have 30 people who respect me and who've paid me all this money have all these big reactions and not take it personal is because I'm pouring from a surplus. I can't pour from a surplus if I do the class more than 3 times a year. 3 is my quota. So if you're like, Blue, I want to work with you. After next month, I'm not doing this shit again until next year. So the link is at the bottom. If you don't sign up, my sister's laughing because she knows I'm serious. If you don't sign up for next month, don't DM me. I'm not doing it again until next year. That is me respecting my boundaries, right? And the beautiful thing about class is within 3 classes, people start calling me and DMing me saying, Blue, I just talked to somebody and I didn't even sound like myself. How's that possible? I only took 2 classes. Because, guys, and this is something that I want you all to know, being healthy is simple. Love is simple. Trauma is complicated. The ego is complicated. The heart is simple, right? How did I start this today saying? Today is 888, a day of manifestation and transformation. The day that represents 24 hours of the same energy we see at 11:11. In fact, if you make a wish on 11:11, on 888, nigga, you might start like levitating. Seriously. My sister's laughing. Mel, set your alarm for 11:11. At this point, and for those who are late to hear, the reason why I'm saying 888, you're like, Blue, do you have a stuttering problem? No, but I do talk fast. Shout out to my Cuban tongue. 2024 is the year of 8. So today is 888. The reason why I'm laughing is, isn't it fun to believe? What is the harm in believing? Because here's the thing that's always wild to me. When something is going to happen and you don't know if it's going to be good or bad, if you worry and it's bad, you worried twice instead of once. You were right, but you doubled the trauma. If you worry and it is good, you worried unnecessarily. Why would I want to double bullshit? If you're worrying about something and it's not going to happen, you worried for no reason. If you're worrying about something and it's going to happen, you doubled the pain. Because there was pain of you being anxious and time traveling to the future. And then there's pain when it actually fucking happens. In either scenario, worrying makes shit worse. So what's the point? Rather than worry, just have discernment and be positive. Have discernment first. Because y'all know how I feel about toxically positive motherfuckers. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are the real delusional people. Okay? Being toxically positive is really delusional. Anyways, I gotta go. We're gonna be late now because I've been talking to y'all. I'm sorry, sis. I love y'all so much. Please give yourself the opportunity to take part in today's fun. If you're someone who doesn't believe in astrology and you get mad at those of us who believe in astrology, ask yourself why you hate Beyonce. Because people who get mad at folks for simply having fun with astrology remind me of people who hate Beyonce like she owes them money. Just don't participate. Why are you angry? Why are you angry about somebody who's having joy? People are like, well, people say you can't date him because he's a Cancer and you can't date them because they're a Taurus and you can't. Okay, that's an extremist, right? Why would you want to judge a whole group of people who are believing in something that has been studied for 3,000 years because of extremists? If you let extremists dictate how you see the hoi polloi, the general public that believes, that's the same argument that's used against black people. It's the same argument that racist people use against, well, hood rats. I'm not a hood rat, but because you're looking at the extreme ends of blackness, you're going to see all of us as hood rats. Well, women can't take accountability. I'm literally an accountability coach. But because you've met a couple of unevolved women who need therapy, you can judge all women. When you judge an entirety of a group based on the extremes, it's short-sighted. Right? Because I dare any of you to tell me that I don't make sense. I dare you. I would love it. So, guys, 3 things you can do quickly before I go in order to make the most of today. Number 1, visualize what you want. Fuck what you don't want. Visualize what you want. Leo represents the heart. Only what your heart wants. Your head can talk to you the other 364 days of the year. Today, visualize what your heart wants. Number 2, journal. Because again, science has shown that when people write things down, it actually helps with cognitive skills. Your cognitive recognition is enhanced through writing. So journaling isn't just a woo-woo thing. Again, there's science. There's always science to back up the magic. Y'all hate it when I say this. And last but not least, only be around people who you want to be around when you get to the place you're going. You cannot spend today with anybody negative. You cannot spend a day with anybody who's just a companion, an emotional fucking support dog. You cannot spend today with somebody who you think is a mess but who's fun. Don't spend today with somebody who you think is a distraction. Be intentional about who you spend today with. There's too much at stake. Because again, if I'm wrong, what's the harm in having heightened discernment? And if I'm right, why wouldn't you want to make the most of all this magic? On that note, I gotta go. I'll keep this up for a couple hours today. But if you haven't already, please go follow my YouTube because all my lives live it on YouTube. All right, I gotta head out because we're running late. Love y'all. Bye.